This is factoring using the distributive property. So you can read through all these things and what we can do in order to factor by grouping. The zero product property, this is something that sometimes people struggle with. So when you see this in the video, make sure you take extra notes. Write stuff down that I don't write down, then write your own definition on what it is based on what I go over. A reminder that adding a 1 or -1 can often help clarify. So when we talk about factoring, what we have to understand is that every number is a product of factors. So a product means answer to multiplication. Factors are what we're multiplied equal at. So 10 would be 2 times 5. So changing 10 into 2 times 5, which means a product of those two, is to factor. Okay? So this is factoring. It's the opposite of the multiplication we've been doing. So if you have the multiplication, we've been multiplying these. So 8x times 3x is 24x squared. 8x times 2 is 16x. So it's the opposite. You're going to take this part right here and turn it into something that looks like that. You take the product and you turn it into things that you will multiply by, which are factors. Okay, so this is a little bit longer, so there's going to be 2 parts. So make sure you watch both parts. So for the first one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to find the greatest common factor. And many of these, you do not need to write out how to find it. You'll start to recognize it. But to start off with, this is something you should do. If you have any question about how to find it or you struggle, find the greatest common factor. So I need to factor out both of these terms. So 27 is 3 times 3 times 3, and y squared is y times y. So again, this is where knowing those math facts can help it go a lot quicker. 18 is 3 times 3 times 2, because that's 9 times 2, and also times y. Now what I'm looking for is since it's the greatest common factor, what's common for both? Well, both of them have a 3, so there's a 3. Both of them also have another 3, and both of them have a y. So my greatest common factor is 9y. Once you find the greatest common factor, put it outside parentheses. That's maybe something you should write down in words. So I have 9y. I'm going to open up my parentheses. Okay, so 9y multiplied by something is going to give me 27y squared. Okay, 9y multiplied by something gives me 27y squared. So that's how you can check your answer. But if you found the greatest common factor this way, it's really easy to determine what you need to put there, because it's right here in blue. 3y. 9 times 3 is 27. Y times y is y squared. Now I need 9y multiplied by something will give me 18y. And it's what's left. So it's 2. So here I have factored. Now always double check to make sure that you have completely factored it. Let me give you an example. One time you might tell that you haven't. If you happen to see this. Okay, so if I look at this, 3y multiplied by 9y plus 6. If I multiply this out, it will give me this answer. But the problem is, and the reason I know it's not completely factored, is because I can see that 9 and 6 are both divisible by 3. So I didn't completely factor it. Once you take out a 3 and make that 3y and make that 2, Move that 3 out here, it becomes 9y. Then you have completely factored it. Okay, let's look at a second example. For this example, there are 3 terms. So I'm going to find the greatest common factor by factoring out all of these. So -4, I'm going to make that as -1 times 2 times 2 times a times b. So this might be something that's helpful, so you're not confused when we talk about the negative numbers. And again, you need to understand this is a -8. So -1, 2 times 2 times 2 times a times b. And this one I have 2 times a times b. So now I'm looking for my greatest common factor. It's common, so it has to be something that all 3 of them have. So I have a 2 here. So 2. All of them also have an a. And all of them have a b. So 2ab is my greatest common factor. Once you get that, set it outside parentheses. 2ab, open parentheses. Okay, 2ab multiplied by something will give me -4a squared b. And again, if you're not sure, you're struggling to find that, look at these numbers. I have -1 times 2, which is -2, and I have a. So this works. 2 times -2 is -4. A and a is a squared, and then b. Plus, here, -4b. So that would give me -8ab squared. Plus, and this last one would be 1. And then for the last one, there's nothing here. Make sure you pay attention to this. That doesn't mean I put 0. It needs to be 1. If there's 3 terms here, then I need to have 3 terms inside the parentheses. So always remember that. So here is my completely factored. Alright, make sure you watch part 2.